little bit toward Shevchenko's little sister, who is fighting here, and she came from the Contender Series and already has another win. She's undefeated right now. I don't like that she's in the same weight class as her sister though, because I'm pretty sure she's also older than her sister, who's the champion. So she's kind of like the knockoff version of her sister, but she's she's still a solid fighter, and she's very pretty. And she's returning into the octagon against Roxanne Modaferri, who I don't know what the odds are showing on that fight, but I might call the upset there if Roxanne is the underdog here. It just, I don't know. I've seen them both fight, and
yep. Roxanne's the underdog for sure, and I know Roxanne pretty well actually. She started out her career. She fought for me on several occasions. I've actually been to her apartment in Tokyo. So she dedicated her life, to fighting and moved to Japan. She's kind of got a totally unique personality for the sport and very likable. Don't let that fool you, though. But when she comes in, and if she can get her game off, she can be very sneaky. Back in the old days, and Roxy goes back a long way. But back in the old days, when the women were coming up, there was a dominant girl named Jennifer Howe. Jennifer Howe actually was dating Jeremy Horn at the time, and it gives you an idea of where she was getting her knowledge from, and she knew how to fight. And Modafferi beat her, and if I'm not mistaken, Monty Cox was managing Jennifer at the time, and Monty heavily pushed for a rematch. I'm going to just double check some of my facts here too, just to make sure I'm not making shit up. But he heavily pushed for a rematch because Howe had been undefeated and was generally considered the best woman in the States, at least, and that sort of stuff. So Modafferi and her got together again, and Modafferi beat her again. And at that point, I remember Monty telling me, he goes, Jennifer could never beat her because, after she put her in the triangles, he took her out by decision in the 3-round fight the first time, and then triangled her and beat her the second time. And she took out the dominant girl that time. Howe fought only one more time after that. And, we're talking about those fights date back to 2004, 2005. So Roxanne has been around the block. That's, 15 years worth of fighting where she's just been dedicated to this. So, yeah, she's dangerous. The only problem with Roxanne is that she's not a physical, she's a cerebral fighter. She's a technique fighter, but, she's not a person blessed with a huge amount of athleticism. She does it, based on guts and love of the sport. And, in the UFC, missing athleticism sometimes is just too huge a hole to overcome, and I think that's what makes the odds in this fight.